Good morning. Thanks for joining the live this morning. I've got Vinny here, just about to get on him. As you know, last week we had some audio issues. We think we have those worked out. If you would, put in the comments if you can hear me or not. I hope you can. Go over here to Sling Block and get on him. All right, great. Glad the audio is working. So we figured out what the issue was, of all things, because when we go to set it up, there's several different microphones we can pick from. And the one that we're recording to is a USB microphone. That's this going into the computer there. And that's going through a module, and that module has to be plugged in. And that, of course, we got several things plugged in here that's plugged into a strip. And of all things, that one outlet on that plug strip didn't have power. Rest of it worked, just not that one outlet. So that's what that issue turned out to be. Glad we got it resolved. Always something. When you're dealing with this many electronic gadgets, it seems like there's always going to be something wrong with one of them. So today I want to talk about how the horse training industry is changing. At least in my perspective, it is. And I think probably in your perspective, it is also. And I'd like to talk about kind of what direction you see horse training going in and see if that compares to what I see. And as a horse trainer, I want to know what you want to see in a horse trainer. I want to know what you're expecting. I mean, years ago, you would send your horse off to a trainer, however long, rarely, if ever, you'd hear from that trainer. This is before there was video and I mean, there was video, but it was really hard to get a video back to an owner. Usually what happened is you had to record it with a camcorder, put it on a tape, mail that tape to the owner for the owner to watch it. So the owner really seeing what was going on was quite an ordeal. And that kind of was the standard that was done. Now we've got all this technology, and I think technology is changing the horse training industry, and I'm trying to have my little part in that, because from the business background that I came from, client satisfaction was always important. And I think client satisfaction is is an area that horse training has been very lacking in for forever, really. And I'm trying to use the technology available to improve that. I have noticed there are a couple of other trainers online that are doing something similar to what I'm doing. They're not posting as much on YouTube as what I'm posting, but I do think they're maintaining a little bit better communication with owners. I know I've had several horses come in lately from owners that were not happy. The horses came to me from a different trainer, and the owners were not happy with what that trainer was doing. And in a way, I want to try to raise your expectations. I want to raise owners' expectations of what you expect from a trainer, because I'm trying to operate on a little bit higher standard. And if I can raise your expectations of what you expect, then that's going to make all trainers become better. The horse training industry has been terrible for years, and I feel like this is kind of my way of kind of forcing other trainers to do a better job. When I have a horse that comes in from another trainer with an issue, I don't ever point out, I don't ever name the trainer that it came in from, but we'll talk about the issues with that horse. And I've got two here, well, actually three here that came in from different trainers, and the owners, four, now that I think about it, they came in from different trainers that the owners were not real happy with. And a big part of what they wasn't happy with, that they're not happy with the progress of the horse, but they weren't happy with the communication between the trainer and the owner. Now, one thing I've learned over the years is some horses are just harder and take longer than others. So Boston in there is a great example. And for what I've accomplished, it's taken way longer than what you would say it should have to accomplish those same things. But when I'm able to maintain communication with the owner, we can talk about what goes on, and then at least the owner can make an educated decision as to a plan for the horse. As opposed to before the horse came to me, she was with a trainer for 6 months, no communication there, and she went and picked the horse up, and I think she had to either have a deputy meet her there or threaten to have a deputy meet her there or something along those lines to pick her horse up. And Basta is definitely a tough horse, but the communication goes a long ways there, and I do my best to try to maintain an open communication with the owners. Um, if you would put in the comments what you expect of a trainer that you send a horse to, and let's talk about it. And I want to know what you expect so I can do a better job of providing the service that you want. Um, I try to post a video of every horse very hard. I've got usually somewhere around 10 horses in training. So that means 10 videos a week that I've got to edit and get uploaded. That's a lot. You're looking at every time I video a horse, what would be, say, an hour long ride with that horse. By the time I set up the camera, take down the camera, put the microphone on, it adds probably 50% to the ride, the time. And then at that point, then I record for those. I record on a Galaxy S10 phone, just a regular phone. Then I have to get it out of the phone into my program. A little bit of edits in there. I'll chop off the front because I set up the camera, and then I'll walk out here and get on the horse and start talking. So there's always some dead space in the beginning. There's always some dead space in the end. Sometimes I'll add some text in or something. So you're looking at probably another hour to edit each one of those videos. So you're looking at, say, an hour and a half per video, and at 10 horses, that's an extra 15 hours a week. So it adds a good bit of work, but I think that's worth it. And I'm trying. Recently, I've tried to implement this at least once a week. I'll either send a text or a picture or some sort of communication with the owner at least once a week, a little snapshot picture or something besides on top of what's been posted on YouTube. And it's time consuming to do that, and I think that's why many trainers don't do it because trainers. There's two different things you're dealing with. You have the physical training, the job of training, and then you have the business side of running a training business. And many trainers, I think, are good at the training part, but not good at managing the business part. They really want the owners to just send the horse to them, not hear from the owner again until they send the horse home. And those days are over. That's not going to happen anymore. Got any comments or questions?
Well, Angela, I live in Louisiana. I would like to see more standardization. After watching you and knowing I needed someone local due to my own fears, I sought out someone with adequate knowledge of the horse's body carriage and how to maximize the horse. I couldn't find it locally. It would have been efficient to look for a list of trainers with a specific certification and indicating they have those skills.
Yeah, that's a great point, Angela. She would like to see some sort of standardization across trainers and some type of certifications that trainers understand certain things. And that's a really good point. Really good topic, and I think that's something we need to be working towards. Right now, there are several instructor certifications out there, and I've held, I think, most of them that I know about, and they weren't very helpful. They weren't helpful for me as a trainer, and I really don't think they were very helpful to you as an owner. So I'm not exactly sure what that type of certification would look like, but I think that's a really good idea. And there are really good trainers all over the country, and I know some here and there. I don't know them all, but I know there are good trainers out there, and it is really hard for an owner to go seek out and find a good trainer. My my hope is one day more trainers are putting more of their stuff online like I do to make that part better because owners are having a hard time finding trainers, and in many cases good trainers are having a hard time getting horses in. I know of good trainers that quit training because they couldn't keep the barn full. And some of that because they were good trainers, but not necessarily good business people. I think all that kind of goes hand in hand, and I would hope that um, the training industry, the trainers keep working towards this some sort of putting out there what they do. And from a trainer's point of view, it's kind of scary to do that. Just like this live right here, what I come out and do, I'm showing you live the videos that I post of where the horse is. I just set the camera up and record. And from a trainer's standpoint, you have to be. He's watching those horses out there. I'm gonna make him walk in just a minute. From a trainer's point of view, you have to be really confident about your program. And for as a trainer. And then as a business owner, you have to adapt your business model to suit what the owners want. So there's a lot that goes on there. Let's make him walk his feet, move his feet. See, his ears came back as soon as I touched him. Now, this is Vinny that I'm on, by the way. I've been working him to get him to engage his back end better, round his body better. And when I picked him up, his owner said he had a little scratch right here on his shoulder. And since then, it has kind of festered up. And I was actually just talking to her before I started the live. That's why I was a little bit late starting the live. I'm going to have to get the vet out and probably lance that and put him on some antibiotics. Just one of the things that happens with horses. But the thing about it is, just as soon as I notice that's a problem, I'm going to call an owner. Basta skin up her leg pretty good. Just as soon as I know about something, I'm going to talk to an owner. Uh, Owner may be upset, may not be happy, but it's a whole lot better addressing that kind of thing immediately than it is trying to hide that kind of thing. And that's how I operate, and that's how all trainers I think should operate. Walk one more circle and then we'll stop again. I'd like to hear what you expect of a trainer when you send a horse into training. If you would put that in the comments and we'll talk about it. At one time, I was training, trying to win as big of stuff as I can win. World titles. I've won a couple of NRHA world titles. I've been in the NRCHA top 10 once, and won a couple of other world top 10s. And at one time, that's what my training was about. I wanted to get the best horses in and win as much as I could win. But since then, my focus has changed. After I won to a point, it just kind of became hollow. It was like, well, okay, I've won this. Now what? And now my focus has changed more to a point of trying to take every horse that I get in and make that horse as good as it can be. And many of the horses, probably 90% of the horses that I would have flunked out of trying to go win something big, that's really the horses that I want to get in here, because I think that's a very underserved group of horses. They're nice horses, but they're not that top level world show quality horses. And there are a lot of really good horses out there that I think just aren't getting or aren't seeing their full potential. You got a question?
More comment. Lisa Boyles said, I love your weekly updates and videos of what you're working on so I can see for myself the progress. Makes for great transparency. I also love that you are giving me realistic expectations on what I can expect the particular horse to excel in or what he won't be suitable doing. Also, being able to come ride with you to learn what I need to do and how to progress my horse at home.
Oh, thanks, Lisa.
Leslie.
Oh, Leslie. Oh, that's this horse's owner.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Leslie. She appreciates the updates that I give, the communication, and that's this horse's owner. When I was texting her, telling her about the shoulder, I told her I'd be on him for the live. And I do my best so that when every horse goes home, that I'm setting the horse and the rider up for success. I don't highlight a lot of owners coming in and riding. I actually put a video out the other day about why I don't do that. I might mention that they come in, but I don't put a lot of emphasis on it, because um, usually we're working on kind of personal things of them improving themselves, and that's not really, I don't think, appropriate to put out there for everybody to see. And the fact that they come here and they're working to become better, that's the important part. And I have RV hookups, and I have the guest cottage that people can stay in, and people do come. I had Stash's owner come. I've had Ryder's owner come. I'm actually going to be bringing Qatar. He's over here, turned out. I'm actually going to be bringing him home this weekend and giving his owner a lesson at her place. And that's him right there. Can't really see him, but that's him. And that's something I've never done that before, but the situation with him, I think, warrants that, because she's having issues with him there. And when he came here, he never really exhibited those same kind of issues. So I'm going to bring him home and work with her. And I'll try to get at least some pictures, maybe some video. I'm not sure. I'll talk to her about that. I might get some video there of me working him there so I can talk about what's going on. I like that idea. So I do my best to try to set every owner and horse up for success, because to me, that's what's important now. That's really what my focus is, and to me, that's what more trainers should be doing. Many young trainers, you have kind of, most young trainers start off as colt starters because that's the easiest phase of the work to get into, and that also kind of requires, I wouldn't say the least talent, but that's something that you can do with not as much knowledge. And from there, you can build your knowledge and do a better job. But some make a lifelong career out of being a coach starter. And the ones that can do that end up being really, really good colt starters. But that particular sector is so hard on your body that not many people can do that, very few. And everybody that has a horse they want to get started, they want to get that horse started right. I don't blame them. But most people that are really good at starting colts, their knowledge has grown, and they move on to a sector that requires a little bit more skill. So good colt starters are really hard to find, but it's hard on your body, and you can't. It's nearly impossible to stay just doing that throughout your career. So different people move on kind of different directions, and many people kind of want to go into showing these aged event horses, futurity horses, derby horses, horses. A lot of young trainers are doing that, but that's almost like being a high school football player dreaming about showing playing in the NFL. Very few make it, and it's that's an area that I think is kind of oversaturated by young trainers coming in. I wish more young trainers would try to serve the kind of horses that I serve by helping all horses become as good as they can be. Another
Okay.
question?
Well,
Comment?
yes, Ty would like to know if you've ever gone to New Orleans for horse shows.
Ty's asking if I've ever gone to New Orleans for horse shows. I've never been to a horse show in New Orleans, but New Orleans has a very large mounted police group, and I have actually I've been to their stables, and I've had back when I was doing a lot of mounted police schools, I have instructed some of those mounted police officers. Um, that's I don't. There's some horse shows around Louisiana. There's nothing in New Orleans that I know of. We'll be going to Meet Louisiana in I think about 2 weeks to a Louisiana Stock Horse Show. That's a little over 2 hours away from me. That's a little bit north of New Orleans. New Orleans is what, an hour and a half from us, something like that. About an hour and a half. We can be in the French Quarter in an hour and a half, which I guess that's the place to say that you've been, but it's not the place that we like to go to very often. If you do go to New Orleans, totally off subject, go to the World War II Museum. Best museum I've ever been to in my life. Go to the zoo and go to the aquarium. That's the three best things in New Orleans, I think, to go to. You got any other
Do
suggestions?
they still have the Children's Museum?
No, they don't have it. That was really good. The Children's Museum was really good. I don't think they have it. I think Katrina, it got washed away in Katrina and they never rebuilt it. That was really good.
We have Dusty. He's in Mississippi, just north of you. I don't know where. He just said good morning from Mississippi.
Uh,
Believe it or not, I'm just north of him.
oh, great to hear from you, Dusty. You're close.
And Mary English said lessons with the trainer seem as important to me as the work the trainer him or herself have done. Otherwise, everything accomplished can be undone in a short time once the horse is home.
Yeah, great point, Mary. Name was Mary, right?
Yeah,
Mary. Lessons with the trainer are essential, and I try to get as many people come here for me to work with them and their horse together. And if they can't, I offer video lessons so that we can work through the video lessons, so we can work through things because there's always little things, and you have the horse and you have the owner, and you try to get on the match together. And lots of owners have only ridden a handful of different horses, so they have their way of doing things and really don't have a lot of knowledge as far as making adjustments to adjust to that horse. And that's where those lessons are really essential.
this was good. PA Tyler.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Pat.
Goes with something I thought of. As owners, we need a reliable source for truthful appraisals of trainers we use, not a BI site for petty grievances, but what we can expect from individual trainers, names included.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pat. A place where you can go to find good trainers. I have actually talked with somebody else around here about possibly opening a trainer school, and something like that might go along with that trainer school. Um, teaching teaching somewhat of the training part of it, but mainly teaching the business side of it, teaching how to interact with the owners, how to post those videos, and try to get some sort of certification there. That idea has been in the back of my mind. I've talked about it with somebody. I think that would be a great direction to go in.
Yeah, I think you missed part of the point. She says not a bitch site for petty grievances. I think you should also mention the warning of going down a dive of comments and letting that go.
Exactly. Not just a bitch site for comments. That's really a good point because I've seen with many of the videos that I post, somebody will post a comment and then it's just like gang banging on that comment. And often whatever the comment is about wasn't even in the video. I think as many people come just to read the comments, maybe more, that don't even watch the video. So I think that is really essential. I've actually tossed around the idea of just turning off some of the comments or turning off the comments in some of my videos, not because of negative comments, but to try to encourage people who are really interested in the training to watch the video. But I don't really have any way of getting any feedback then as far as what the owners, what the watchers are really looking for, what they get out of it. So that's why I haven't done that. So I don't know. That's just another area. And one of the problems with social media in general, Facebook especially, YouTube not as much, but still to a point, whatever you watch more of, they serve you more of that. And whatever you comment on, they serve you more of that. And I see it really polarizing people. And people are always commenting, I should be open to their ideas, but they're not open to my ideas. And what happens is the way the social media serves you stuff, it makes you more polarized because it makes you think that more people agree with you. I remember when I was young and you watched the news on TV, we had three channels to pick from, and all three channels they couldn't be polarizing because they couldn't separate their group out like that. And so they had to be more middle of the road, more correct. And I think social media has made everything in life more polarizing, which I think is not good. I think that needs to be. No, I just made a post on Facebook about how useless I think university studies are, and what happens there. Many of them that I see, and I read the study, and they study is started with a bias. They start with the bias, and then they try to prove their bias, and that's not how studies are supposed to work. And then somebody does that, they manipulate the results to prove their bias, put that out, say, oh, this such and such university study proved this. Well, they really didn't prove anything. And somebody on social media picks up on that, and it goes around, and it's like gospel because it came from a university study, where many of these studies are actually not studies; they're students' thesis papers that start off with a bias to begin with, and most of them I think are useless. There are a few that are good, but not many.
I'm skipping a couple of questions because you were just talking about this. Isn't there a way to restrict?
I put that you have to be a subscriber to comment, but you only have to be a subscriber for 1 minute. I can set that. I do that to try to get people a little bit more invested before they just start commenting. Uh, and I think that's a really great tool. It's not possible in Facebook, and uh, a lot of what Facebook posts I don't really like. Um, But the balance to that is most of the horses that are sent to me, the people find me on Facebook. So I have to play that game, so to speak. But YouTube and Patreon is really where I try to show everybody what I do.
This is a good point about what you were saying, Mary. Totally agree with you on universities, Tim. Universities have become warehouses for ideology and not critical thinking.
Yeah, actually, exactly.
Mary,
Mary, yeah, Mary. Universities, there's, I don't know, I could ran on that for a while. Uh,
we have questions too.
Yeah, I actually, when I graduated high school, I had a full 4 year ride scholarship to Mississippi State. Went there for a few months and quit. I hated it. And it wasn't what I wanted to do, but the atmosphere wasn't what I liked. And Mississippi State is a good college for certain things. They have a good vet school, they have a good equestrian program. I was actually in architectural school, and but so many colleges they just I know the person that runs a lot of the equestrian stuff up there, and he has his own podcast, and they have their own show up there, and it's just I don't think I just don't think it's the direction that the equestrian world needs to go in.
All right, we have Kat Hoyt who would like for you to explain how a video lesson works.
Okay. Kat's asking how a video lesson works. So the way that works, I used to try to do them live, but I was doing them with people all over the world, and just coordinating times just couldn't work. So the way we do them now is you can use your phone, set up your phone, prop it up on something, and video whatever you want help with, whether it's out in the pasture, in a stall, at the wash rack, out riding, whatever you want help with, and record 20 minutes or so. That's usually a good amount, and take that video and upload it to YouTube as a YouTube unlisted video. Being unlisted means that not everybody can see it, but you can send me the link and I can see it. And what I do is I pull it up and I play it on my screen. I do a screen record with a voiceover. So I voice over instructions of what what you need to be doing at this time. I'll back up. I'll do slow motion. I'll add some other clips. I'll tell you what videos to look at to fix this thing, and it can be very helpful. And I do quite a few of those that way. And you can just message me. You can send me an email. You can message me on Patreon. That's really the best way to reach me because that's where I check messages first. You can become a free member on Patreon and then message me there, or you can become a member there. And when you're a member on Patreon, I'll go in depth and I'll answer specific questions that specific to you and your horse. And I spend a good bit more time there because that's where my really dedicated followers are, and you're paying for that service, and that's the service that I give.
Okay, Jen Brennan, in your experience, will a moody filly continue to be a crabby mare, or will they outgrow a bad attitude?
Okay, Jen, she's asking, in my experience, will a moody filly outgrow that and become a good horse, or will they become a crabby mare? So when I'm looking for horses to train up to a higher level, uh, moody fillies are what I want. They usually mature a little earlier. They have more grit, and you can actually accomplish more with those once you get them on your side. You can't just uh, force a filly or a mare to do what you want. You have to work with them so that uh, you kind of work together. So a lot of that has to do with your training techniques and how you get along with fillies and mares. By far, like 10 to 1, I've won more money on mares than I have geldings or stallions. Um, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with geldings or stallions. I click with mares. And a moody kind of a pushy, moody young filly is what I want. Uh, One time I went to a reining clinic, and Sean Florida was the instructor of the clinic. And one of the questions that was asked, I didn't ask it, but it was a really good question. This is when he was winning all the NRHA futurities. And he said, when you're looking for a prospect to put in training, what are you looking for? And his question was, if I'm looking for a mare, if I'm looking for a stallion, I want to pick out the wimpiest colt uh, in the corner, hiding, afraid of everything. And that's the stallion I want to put in training because that stallion is going to grow into himself and he's going to be a lot bolder horse. And if he's kind of wimpy to begin with, I know that I can work with a relationship with that horse. Then he says, if I'm looking for a mare, if I'm looking for a filly, I want the filly that's whipping that stallion. He said, because when you have a filly that's that gritty, they're going to have the grit to make it through training. So that's always stuck with me, and that's I still use that today, and that it works. That's like Sunita. We accomplished a lot with her, and she was never was terrible at anything, but she would be a little moody, a little pushy. kind of push into your space. Nothing terrible, nothing that I felt was dangerous, but just enough to see that there was some grit there. And that's why we went on and gave her a little chance, a little time to mature, and she turned out really nice. Which she actually went home. She got home last night, I believe it was at 9 or 10 o'clock last night, and her owner is going to ride her today. So I'm really interested to hear back from her owner how that ride went.
This is her plot for that question, Jen. Oh, this is the best answer. Thank you. I've always had simple geldings and not used to the move.
Yeah, yeah, it's different when you're used to riding geldings. Fillies are way different. There's a saying that you can tell a gelding, but you have to negotiate with the mare, and that's very true. And if you approach your training that way, you can really accomplish a lot with a moody filly.
Ty wants to know if you think you'll ever retire from horse training one day.
Okay, Ty, will I ever retire? So I don't know that I'll ever retire. There might become a day when it hurts too bad to get on, but it ain't gonna be anytime soon. Uh, Recently, I've been kind of gradually changing my criteria of horses that I would take in training, just to try to be a little safer for me. But I don't know if I'll ever retire completely. It'd be nice. I'd love to. My dream is to have a house on the water in the Caribbean. So I'm sure that'll never happen. But yeah, nice and warm all the time on the water. You see the pictures of the island with the house sitting out in the water. That you have to take a boat to get to the house, and you wake up to the sunrise every morning. That's always been my dream. So maybe I'll have that vacation one day, but I'll know I'll never live there.
That's funny because that would be my ideal spot. I want to go to
Yeah,
Fiji. That's why I want to go to Fiji.
yeah. Melinda says that would be her ideal spot in Fiji. Okay, let's walk Vinny around a little bit. He went to sleep on me, and I've been working him with rounding his back, engaging his back in, and talking with his owner all along. And I've known Vinny two owners ago, maybe three owners ago. So I've known the horse a long time, and I kind of know what makes him tick. I know what his mood's like, what he likes. His owner that has him now says he likes to stand in the pond, and he's a pretty lazy horse. So because of that, he needs help rounding his back, building those muscles. Some horses will run around in the pasture on their own and kind of stay fit. Some horses don't. He's one that don't. And many people are under the impression that if the horse runs around in the pasture on his own and stays, quote, fit, then they're fit to go to work. And that is very far from the truth, because just because a horse runs around and keeps muscle on because he's very active doesn't necessarily mean that he's running around engaging his back end good, with his back rounded good. Some do, some don't. Saber, if you remember him, he's Arabian that I had last year, maybe a year before last, that we started with very big handful, and he was started later. He just happens to be one of the horses that carries his body well naturally. And his owner just sent me a picture the other day, running in from the pasture to be fed that morning and put down a long slide. He just carries himself naturally. And a lot of that goes back to the breeding of the horse. He comes from a line of horses that are very successful showing, and that it's a huge part genetics for that he carries himself that way because of his genetics. Some of it is man-made. Some of it's because of the work that we did. Much of it is genetics. A trainer cannot put something into a horse that's not already there. All we can do is try to bring out certain things that are there and try to push back certain things that are not there. That's really all that a trainer can do. And there's everybody, I hear it all the time, you can't ride papers. And it's true, you can't ride papers, but those papers are going to tell me what that horse is like. I'm going to know if that horse is going to wander around his body. I'm going to know if he wants to use his back end. I'm going to know if mentally he wants to be trained, his trainability. Saber's mama's side, the, on Saber's mama's side, I had an Arabian quite a few years ago, very close, similar bred, that I won a lot on. I won NRHA money, I won NRCHA money, took the horse to the Arabian Nationals, did very well. And I knew from that horse how trainable that horse was. And it was very well bred, everything close, had won a good bit. And it was similar with Saber. Trainability is huge. And you can take a horse, a dam and a sire that have never won anything and breed them together and get a colt. And it doesn't mean that the colt isn't going to go win and do well. It doesn't mean he isn't going to carry his body well on his own. But the chances are, if you have a dam and a sire that have already demonstrated that they naturally do stuff on their own, they're easy to train, they've gone off and they've won things, then chances are that colt is going to be similar to his dam and sire. And the trainability will be there. And, and so I am really big on looking at horses' papers. I'm really big at looking at what's there and have a pretty good idea what there is to work with. And not just because a horse has really good papers that says he should be trainable, they not all are. But the chances are much better that they are trainable. And just because the horse doesn't have papers doesn't mean they're not trainable. It's just that you don't have anything backing that up saying that, yeah, this horse should be trainable because he's out of stock that has done well.
Catherine says she highly recommends your lessons. And she said, Benny Vega. Always have to say Vega after Benny. Benny. Anyone remember who Benny Vega is? You know Benny Vega?
I've heard of it as that's from one of, oh, the race car movie, isn't it?
I was thinking it was the only Benny I know is my cousin Benny.
No, I can't remember. I'm sure she'll put it, but yeah, she's done several video lessons with me, and we've done very well with them. And huh?
She just said nope.
Nope. Yeah.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. It sounds familiar. I don't know.
And then,
Go ahead.
and what breed is Benny? Someone posted that, Gail.
Okay, Vinny is a quarter horse. I don't remember his bloodlines, what's on his papers. I have seen it. I don't remember. If I remember right, it's a lot of Western pleasure bred, a lot of Western pleasure breeding. That's what his original training was, and he likes to go slow, and but he doesn't fit the mold of a modern Western pleasure horse. And when I originally got him back, I don't remember. It's been probably 5 or 6 years ago when I originally got him in for training. I swapped him over to versatility ranch horse. We worked cows, rope, did a lot of ranch trail, a lot of ranch riding, and that's really what his forte is now. Pushing him out a little bit quicker than the Western pleasure, and he likes ranch trail because not, to him those obstacles are easy because he don't have to run a cow down the fence. He'll track a cow, but when it gets hard, he wants to stop.
Okay, and what is the most rewarding thing in your career?
The most rewarding thing in my career.
What's been the most rewarding thing for you in your career?
So, showing Missy was probably the highlight. I won an NRHA title on her, and she was she was she's really the horse that told me that, yeah, what I was doing was right, because we went on and won a lot with her. And there's been quite a few things. And one I've always, as I was coming up as a trainer, there was always trainers that I had the impression, well, if I can beat this trainer, I know I've done something. And I've had certain trainers over the years that I always kind of wanted to beat. And one time I was showing freestyle reining at the Dixie National Horse Show, and one of the trainers that I had a really hard time beating, I beat him there, and that was an NRHA sanctioned show. So that was a highlight, but that was kind of a vain thing. But kind of when you're coming up and training, you're proving to yourself that you know what you're doing, and that was probably one of the things that was really big highlight. I've got one particular student that I hauled to 3 world titles. So hauling her to those world titles is probably my favorite hit. I remember we were in, I think it was Tulsa, Oklahoma, if I remember right, and she was 16. She was a character. I've got a lot of stories. At one show, I had to get on to her. She wore these uh, outfits that kind of slinky type outfits with the zipper, and I'll always make her zipper up before she went in, and then she'd go in the show and pull her zipper down before she started showing. And she was a character. And we were in Tulsa, and it was late at night. I think we'd just fed horses, and the way it worked, I hauled her to these shows, and most of the time it was just me and her. And she had a small living quarters trailer that she stayed there, and then I'd go stay in a hotel room. And one night, uh, there was a we just finished feeding, and there was a track right there next door. She said, "I want to go run my horse on the track and see what he can do." I said, "Well, wait till I leave and don't tell me about it." And the next morning, she never did say, but I got the impression that she did go breeze her horse on the track. And she was just fun. Everything about hauling her was really fun, really good time. And I've had quite a few kids that I've hauled to shows, and she was. I'll always remember her.
Well, Benny Vega, played by John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, got to have a certain attraction to black humor, but he
Oh,
liked the character.
I've never. Well, I have. I've never seen the movie Pulp Fiction, so I'll have to watch that. Especially John Travolta. I thought I'd seen a lot of his stuff. He's uh he's a character. I remember him from the way back in the Welcome Back Cotter days. So been a while. Showing our age.
You're older.
Melinda said I'm older. Seemed like I'm the oldest one in the room, whatever room I'm in. Any other questions?
No questions. A few comments. Catherine said that um, because of doing the virtual lessons with Tim, my younger horse will be going to Tim for this coming winter. That's how much I value his methods.
Yeah, Kathy, we've done some virtual lessons, and she's sending a horse to me for this winter, so I can keep riding him through the winter. And I usually get a couple every year that way, and that way our winters here are typically pretty nice for riding, and that way I can keep them fit through the winter, and when they go home in the spring, they're ready to go on to trail riding or showing or whatever the owner wants them to do.
Then we have Child the horse. Always watch the video before making a comment. I have a gelding and a yearling filly. She's definitely got grit.
Yeah, Childa.
Pride a horse. It's like all one. CHRIDEA horse.
Ride a horse.
Pride
Oh,
a horse.
definitely has a feeling. Definitely has grit, and it seemed like Phillies developed that first, and that's like Raven's horse Bug. I mean, she developed that very young, and I had to be kind of hard on her because she was to the point of being dangerous, and it's just Philly. You rarely hear of a gelding that way. Uh, Way more fillies than stallions. I had one filly that I started that belonged to me. It was out of She was out of my mare and my stallion, and my mare was my police horse. Very docile, very nice mare. My stallion was pretty aggressive, and So I started this particular mare. She was into her 2-year-old year, 2.5, something like that. And the very first time I went to work her in the round pen, picked up my lunge line, pointed this way. She just looked at me. She's standing face straight on at me, not even turned sideways at all. So I took and I picked the whip up and I shook the whip, and she kind of leaned to me, and I popped the whip and she leaned to me some more, and I swung the whip and I actually made contact with her that time, and she charged at me with her teeth. And that was a 2-year-old filly, and actually that turned out to be a really good horse. But a lot of 2-year-old fillies are like that.
Lisa Morris says she appreciates your videos. Thank you so much. Catherine said, yeah, we are old. Pulp Fiction is not for the faint of heart.
I don't. I haven't seen that movie. I'll have to watch it. Pulp Fiction. I think we'll go ahead and end today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching. I'm going to be bringing Qatar home this weekend, and I hope to get some video of that. And I'm going to keep uploading videos and do what I do, and my little piece of the world, try to make all horse trainers better. Until next time, thank you for watching.